falls till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go.
We are live because we are live and we are unburdened by the liveness of about what we are going to become. Whew. I don't even know how Kamala can talk like that. That's just word salad craziness. Kryptonian's nowhere to be found. We have Chris Cruz with me today and Kryptonian. Same three people as last week. I forgot to put the names. I'll put our names so we can see them. How's it going, Chris?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
Can't complain.
I saw that you put a poll up. I put a poll up too. I didn't see it. I went to your channel to turn it on to look at it, and I was like, "Oh,
Oh yeah, I did put a poll. I totally forgot. Yeah, I put
Yeah.
who's going to win the election, Trump or Kamala, and it was overwhelmingly Trump earlier in the day. I got to go on my page to see it. Of course, they want to give me ads every time I need something.
Oh yeah."
Man, what an interview today. Kamala was with Brett Baer today. For anybody who might not have seen it, we got a bunch of clips we're going to be playing. There's some new things Kamala introduced yesterday that she had to walk back today because they are inherently unconstitutional and racist. And we'll just start off with that. So Kamala Harris creates an opportunity agenda for Black men to provide 1 million loans that are fully forgivable, up to $20,000 for Black entrepreneurs and others to start a business. This would support educational training and mentorship programs that lead to good paying jobs for Black men, including pathways to become teachers. Protect cryptocurrency investments so Black men who make them know their money is safe. Launch national health initiative focused on the illness that disproportionately impact Black men. Legalize recreational marijuana and create opportunities for Black Americans to succeed in this new industry. Now, the whole legalizing marijuana thing, it's like she's just saying that, Black men, that's what they do. They smoke marijuana and stuff. And it's I just found it incredibly just low on her part. And this is all because she is fading majorly with black men in the polling. So she did this. And then today she had to walk it all back because it's unconstitutional and she'll never get it to pass. So now today she says the agenda for black men will be open to all, the campaign says. So she had to walk it back already because she put her foot in her mouth because she panicked. And whoever advised her to go on Brett Baer today, I feel sorry for that. That's a job.
It's probably the same person that's trying to get her to go on Rogan. If she goes on Rogan, man.
Yeah, that would be 3 hours of word salad that would be legendary for clips for me.
Yeah, and I said this last week. She just needs to stop talking. And they did it. They did it this week. I would actually say today that I'll be 100% voting for Trump. I tried to keep an open mind and all that kind of stuff, but when they broke the news about the crime stats, that was, and I even posted on my Twitter, it's like with the job numbers where they were off by 818,000, and then these crime stats that went from down a couple percent, crime was down a couple percent to, crime is up 4% or whatever. I'm like, dude, this is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels. And that's when I go back to saying, like, other presidents and stuff like that, that stuff didn't happen. You can disagree with what Bill Clinton did. You can disagree with Barack Obama and stuff like that. Those numbers were pretty close to legit numbers the whole time of their presidency. Trump's was a minor changes here and there. They were minimal. Now these are enormous changes, and this affects the bottom line. So if you're an investor, a day trader, or even a swing trader, or you're doing anything to do with crypto, or crypto markets move with financial information and stuff like that, and stock markets, all that kind of stuff. So when the Fed comes out with these different numbers here and there, the non-farm payroll and things like that, and you're in a position and you're betting that non-farm payroll is going to be good, and it comes out, you can't even trust those numbers. You basically have to be cash whenever this stuff happens, because you don't know if they're going to get the numbers are going to be legit and come out, and then they're going to revise the numbers later on. They're manipulating markets is what they're doing, and they're doing it so badly that they have to come back later on and quietly adjust those things.
Yeah, and I've noticed the markets have been swinging like crazy, and which makes sense. And the crime numbers, it's almost to the point where it's like they moved it so much. And what was crazy about this is the FBI released the data, but they never said anything. They didn't say they adjusted the number. Some guy had
it wasn't in their press release. They do a press release like monthly or whatever, but their October press release did not mention anything about the numbers had been updated. They quietly did it.
And a guy took both screenshots, compared them, and it was 4.5% that crime is up. And Bill Muir owes Trump an apology.
Crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But Vice
Excuse me,
President
the
Harris,
FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud.
I hate to say it, Trump was right, like always, and it comes out.
I hate to say it.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I wish they would just tell the truth, because then you can focus on the problems in real time as they're happening. But now it's like they constantly lie, and then they blame Trump. Oh, it's Trump's fault. Trump's fault. Somehow this is going to be put on Trump. It's Trump's fault. Trump let all the migrants in. Trump said defund the police. Trump's fault. And that's the thing. They always go to Trump's fault. Whenever they make a mistake, it's Trump's fault. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, it's just like all the, it's just like the,
Maker's
what do you got
Mark
there? Is that wine?
Oh, brother. It's whiskey. See, unlike you, Chris, mine's actually in my glass, not sitting at the back of my my background there. You know what I mean?
Well, I have like 20 bottles back there of different types of bourbons and scotch and Irish whiskey.
You probably got about at least a Bitcoin worth of Scott. Knowing you, it's the high end stuff.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
and that's what's on camera. That's not what I. But
It's been a while since I had one, so with my boys, so I figured I'd grab a drink. So
yeah, I think that that's the theme of that Brett Baer and Kamala Harris interview too, is that I don't understand how. I don't think most average people aren't thinking like this, but seriously, how can Democrats have been in power for so many years, with a few years, the 4 years that Trump was in there, in the middle of it, but they seriously blame every single thing on Trump. And that's what, as an independent voter, that's what really pisses me off, because it's like, you're wasting my time with this stuff saying that it's Trump's fault. Okay. Not everything is Trump's fault. I just want to know, do you know what the problem is? And do you know what you're going to do to fix it? Because even when Trump would sit around, if Trump was sitting around saying that it's all Biden's fault, I'm just pissed off at him. I don't care about, like, right now, Trump can say that it's Biden and Harris's fault. I mean, he can say that, but what are you going to do to fix it? So I give him a little bit more leeway, just like I gave Biden more leeway in 2020. So if there's a legitimate problem, Trump's at fault. Does Trump know about it? Is he trying to fix it? And if it's something that they've been trying to fix, but like with the border crisis, I mean, 90-something executive orders reversed things for Trump.
They created this whole crisis, and then now they're saying, "Oh, it's always been and then when she says today it's been a broken immigration system, I'm like, you created a problem, and now you're trying to be mad at Trump because he's running on this issue, and then you're throwing the bill, which the border bill is just ridiculous. Like I said last time, I still got my paperwork on it. It's lets in 1.8 million illegals, and I'm glad Brett Baer challenged her on that. And he said that 6 Democrats voted against the bill as well. So even the Dems didn't vote overwhelmingly for the bill. And it wasn't Trump who said, Trump maybe didn't like it. It was a crap bill. Byron Donalds, who I think is brilliant, has said this multiple times on X, that it's a crap bill. It didn't really do anything. The way they hit it was they said they hired 1,500 border agents. And the Border Patrol agents, of course, are going to like that. But then Trump comes out in his campaign and he said he wants to hire 10,000 Border Patrol agents. So Trump really wants to do something about this. And he got the endorsement of the Border Patrol the other day as well. And I like that Brett Baer asked her about that, and she had no response for it.
Yeah,
like,
he asked her. He said, he's like, if you're doing so well on the border, why did you not get any support? I mean, he called her, and he wasn't trying to do gotchas. He literally asked what I would ask and what everyone else is asking, what the border agents would be asking, and the officers would be asking. They'd be like, if you're doing your part, why are we having this problem? Why are we even having this conversation? He actually, that interview was great. If you guys haven't seen it, go watch it, because I mean, he asked questions. I mean, and he only had like 30 minutes. Imagine an hour with him. In fact, I think Greek, you were saying that they had to cut it short because she was like, her team's like, we got to go.
Yeah, her team was supposedly he said her team was
everybody out. Yeah,
waving at him. She showed up 15 minutes late, of course, because she's claimed for previous stop that had like 100 people was really important. And something I heard on my drive home today that I found really interesting is she's diverting ad spends from Wisconsin now to Philadelphia because she's worried about the turnout in Philadelphia with voting. They're not liking the early turnout so far. So that seems to be problems in the state of Pennsylvania. We know Philadelphia is overwhelmingly, like, they usually are 70% Democrat over there. So that's huge. So it's good to see. From what I'm hearing in every state, they're really showing up right now in Georgia to vote. Record numbers yesterday, over 300,000 people voted on day one of early voting. And today they had again. And I
wasn't the previous record was like 100,000?
100,000. So this was like 3 times the previous record. So you got an excited base and a lot of Republicans coming out to vote. In Arizona, same thing. They had a news crew at one of the ballot places, and they said they couldn't find anybody willing to admit they voted for Kamala. So It's like the
Yeah, was that on CNN, I think? Or
I think it was CNN. I'm not sure of the news.
Saw that. The guy was like, we couldn't find anybody that would audibly tell us that they voted for Harris. I don't know if they were scared or what, but
I mean, so right now things are looking good, but like I say, you got to go vote. You have to pretend like we're losing. And actually, I got a clip of the Brett Baer interview, so we're going to watch the section on immigration. It's 2 minutes, 56 seconds. So we will see you on the flip side of this clip.
Do you regret the decision to terminate Remain in Mexico at the beginning of your administration?
At the beginning of our administration, within practically hours of taking the oath, the first bill that we offered Congress, before we worked on infrastructure, before the Inflation Reduction Act, before the CHIPS and Science Act, before the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the first bill, practically within hours of taking the oath, was a bill to fix our immigration system.
Yes, ma'am. It was called the U.S. Citizenship Act of 2021.
Exactly.
It was essentially a pathway to citizenship for the... Yes, ma'am.
May I finish responding, please?
But
you have to let me finish,
You
please.
had the White House and the House and the Senate, and they didn't bring up that bill.
I'm in the middle of responding to the point you're raising,
okay,
and I'd like to finish.
Yes, ma'am.
We recognized from day one that, to the point of this being your first question, it is a priority for us as a nation and for the American people. And our focus has been on fixing a problem. And from day one, then, we have done a number of things, including to address our asylum system and put more resources, getting more judges, what we needed to do to tighten up penalties and increase penalties for illegal crossings, what we needed to do to deal with points of entry between border entry points. That's the work we did, and we worked on supporting what was a bipartisan effort, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Congress, to actually strengthen the border. That border bill would have put 1,500 more border agents at the border, which is why I believe the Border Patrol agents supported the bill. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States, which is a scourge affecting people of every background, every geographic location in our country, killing people. It would have allowed us to put more resources into prosecuting transnational criminal organizations, which I have done,
yes, ma'am,
as the Attorney General, former Attorney General of a border state.
Madam Vice President, a couple of things.
Prosecuted trafficking of drugs, guns, and human beings. And Donald Trump, but let me just finish.
Six Democrats voted against that bill.
Learned about that bill and told them to kill it because he preferred to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And in this election, this is rightly a discussion that the American people want to have. And what they want are solutions, and they want a president of the United States who's not playing political games with the issue,
I hear you,
but actually is focused on fixing it.
6 Democrats voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it.
And I just want to bring this up. I know you got commentary that you're going to have, but dude, why did she say that? Trump has the solution. Shut the border down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't get it. Is she like, he has no solution? Okay.
To the point of that, I mean, remember, Brett started with you actually took away what was it, 90-something executive actions that actually opened the border and allowed some unvetted illegal aliens to come into the country and kill an American, a couple of Americans, right, that we know about. And he asked her, do you regret changing the executive orders, like putting those down? And she never answered the question. She never said. He even brought up that if you show the whole clip, he actually even played one of the mothers of the young ladies that got murdered.
I got that clip too.
Yeah, would you apologize to her? She couldn't even say she was sorry. She says, "I'm sorry. That's a travesty."
I didn't see that.
I can't imagine.
Oh,
it's man. I'm
well,
gonna
let's
tell you.
play it right now.
Let's go ahead.
Let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungare's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss. Sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in all fairness, I told you, I feel awful.
Let's talk about what's happening right now. Yeah, Harris. Let's talk about these Venezuelans that are taking over apartment complexes in America right now. I'm in Texas, San Antonio, and in Dallas. It's happening right now. It's happening. So
Happening everywhere.
Yeah, right. So, and again, she doesn't want to say she's sorry. She wouldn't apologize to Jocelyn's mother. She wouldn't. She says, I am sorry for her loss. That is one of the, you say that to somebody, she's just saying words. She should have looked at the camera, called her, met with her.
Trump
she should have looked
met
right
with
in the
all these
camera and
people.
said, to the mother of Jocelyn, I am sorry that I made a bad decision and I will make it better.
Yeah.
That right there would have given her points.
Yeah.
I promise you, I will make it right. But she didn't do that. Let's talk about Trump. Ah, man,
Well, her
blows my
message
mind.
on Trump is her border message is a losing message, and someone needs to get a hold of her and tell her that she's going to gain a lot more. You can't say that you've been in office you're the current administration. She says that she agrees. She wouldn't change anything that Biden did, or she couldn't think of anything off the top of her head. Yeah. And Biden says that she was there for all the major decisions. So, okay, so she has to take accountability for that. And if she took accountability for it and said, yes, those we thought that those executive orders were going to fix a problem. The new solution is talk about this stuff. But then she goes on to say that Trump doesn't want to participate in any solutions. Well, Trump's, you can't say that about Trump, especially this time around when he's got Tulsi Gabbard. He has Robert Kennedy Jr. Mm-hmm. He has Vivek. I mean, I know that he's kind of a Republican and everything like that, but from where I come from, Vivek's like a huge star around here. Everybody loves him. And
oh yeah.
And JD Vance is like literally right down the road, and everybody loves JD Vance around here. So you have all these different people, and somebody that I never thought I would ever see in politics at all is not my number one favorite. My number one favorite person is Sage Steele. Love her to death. Second is Danica Patrick.
Danica's awesome.
This lady is like, look, yeah. I never even voted, and this is whack. I'm gonna have to vote this time, and I'm all for Trump. I'm like, wait, what? But you can't say that about Trump. He's built a coalition of a lot of different people from all kinds of, from now most of them aren't still Democrats, but they were leaning Democrats. I mean, you got, and not even the some too short, but like Elon Musk was always like, he wants free speech, limited government, all that kind of stuff. But when you say that Trump has no solutions, it's just like the whole thing with Ron DeSantis and the hurricane.
Yeah.
Just because Ron DeSantis is not including you, Kamala, in his decision-making process and what he needs to do to protect the people of Florida from a major hurricane, she got upset about that. It's like she's upset that Trump's not including her in his plans to fix all these problems. And when she says that he has no solutions and doesn't want to be a part of these solutions, it's like he has these solutions over here. He's just not including you in them.
It's very rich too, coming from her. She's always, I'm saying the messaging's kind of weird. She treats Trump like he's the incumbent. Like, oh, he turned down that bill. Like, Trump's not in office. He's a private citizen. You can't blame anything on Trump. Trump could say whatever the hell he wants. Congress could have voted for it still. Okay. They didn't have to listen to Trump. He wasn't the presidential nominee yet. Okay. That happened after the bill got denied. So yeah, he was leading in the primaries then, but you can't really say, oh, he wanted to run on that. Well, you could just shut down the border. And even now they could shut down the border. They don't do it. They keep blaming this failed bill. as you know, the bill had 60 billion to Ukraine, as they sent 154 more million today to Ukraine. You know, that's a different story.
What was the percentage of that bill that went to foreign countries? Was it in the 80%?
It was a lot that I don't have the exact percentage, but there was money going to
It was going, there's money to Ukraine, money to Israel, and money to Asia Pacific something. I forget how they worded it, but and I counted it up, and I'm getting old and I forget, but I thought 80% of the bill was money that was leaving.
It would not shock me the slightest if that was the case. And what pisses me off more,
we'll go back to Trump talking about the border and building the wall. He wanted $5 billion to build the wall, and they were all like, "That's a vanity project. That's BS," and all that kind of stuff. But
can't afford it.
Can't afford it. Yeah.
Yeah. And
you got a border bill.
$100 billion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's $155
billion
billion that we've spent on illegal immigration in the 4 years, where it cost $5 billion to build the wall. And they complained about the wall. They held up funding for it. That's why he only built whatever he built.
A couple hundred miles of it. Yeah.
For her to just undo 94 executive orders, and her first bill was basically a mass amnesty bill for immigrants. That's what her first bill was. So when she says, "Oh, they had a broken problem," so her way of fixing the problem is to let illegals in and then give them mass amnesty, so they're no longer illegals. Once you give them mass amnesty, now they're in as citizens, and that's her thing. She just wants to turn these into citizens, and you have to ask yourself, why is she doing this?
Yep.
And it's hurting a lot of people, a lot of communities. It doesn't hurt the elites that she panders to, all the celebrities, because they don't deal with all these issues. I guarantee you, if you sent those illegals up into LA where the elites live, oh, you'd hear about it in a second. It'd be the biggest thing on the news. Everybody would be complaining, and they'd be taken care of and out of this country in a second. That's what's crazy. But Springfield, Ohio, they're suffering. No, forget it. But they're here legally because of the CBP1 app that she created, that she could just wave a wand and bring them here.
Yeah, JD Vance was excellent in that debate when he brought up that, because I don't think a lot of people knew what that app was.
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what
they thought it was some made up thing, and they were like, "Oh, he's spewing too much truth. We need to silence him." And I'm like, "No, don't silence him. He's bringing the heat right now." And
well,
I remember during the debate, Walt actually said, he looked over at Vance and said, "Oh, that law's been here since the 90s or something like that. That doesn't make it okay." You know what I mean?
Well, so no. That's where Vance corrected him and said that app was not around. Then it was created during the Biden administration.
That's when the app was created.
They cut the mics on him and everything like that. And then Vance went on that, and that Martha Raddatz or whatever her name is, then he goes on her this week. What show is that? Like the Sunday morning talk show? I think
it's Face the Nation.
Yeah. And he goes on there and has that viral moment where he's talking about she's like, only a few apartment complexes were digging. And he's like, what?
And then I found this meme for that. It's like the acceptable number of apartment complexes taken over by illegal alien Venezuelan gangs: handful, bushel, 30. It's like we're sitting here, and this is the craziness about the whole situation. Is we're sitting here arguing. If it's one apartment complex in the whole country, that's still one too many. Why is it okay if it's only a couple? And that's you can't paint it any other way. They know it's a problem, and they have to paint it in the best light they can, and it sickens me.
Yeah, Kamala Harris, they need to sit her down, and she is losing on the border debate. They need to quickly. They are running out of time. They need to adjust the way she talks about it. She has to take ownership, and that's what American people want.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody,
it would help her with points a lot. If she would just say, I messed up. I thought this was the right way to handle it, and here's how I'm going to handle it from here on out. And I think that would help her better than what she's doing now, because now saying, "Oh, it's always been a problem." Trump.
She could turn it into a Kamala thing where she's laughing about it. She's like, "Well, at least we know what doesn't work," and laugh about it and be like, "I will definitely not do any of those policies that we did before, that kind of thing. She needs to take ownership of it, or just not talk about it anymore, because the things that she talks about and the questions she's being asked are legitimate questions, and her answers are ridiculous. And they're ridiculous. And same thing with Walz. I mean, when you talk to Trump, you get Trump's like, I'm the greatest ever. This is what we did, that kind of stuff. JD Vance is like educated in what he wants to say. He's really smart about what he does. Walz is like, it's Trump's fault. And Kamala Harris is like, it's Trump's fault. And it's like, okay, all right, yeah, Trump is the worst ever. But I don't want to elect somebody that just I'm not going to vote for Kamala because they're not Trump. So it's killing me. But now today, like I said, my decision's made after today. So
I found this funny exchange online, and it's somebody asking why Kamala, and it's between Charlie Kirk and one of the college students. And this is classic when you start asking them questions.
I'm guessing you're voting for Kamala Harris.
Yes, my queen.
Yeah, okay. What's her greatest accomplishment?
Well, as vice president, I'm not sure. I guess I have nothing. I'm stumped.
What is the best thing she's ever done?
I think some of the stuff she did as district attorney in San Francisco is pretty impressive.
Such as?
So the
releasing violent offenders that ended up killing people and raping women?
No, I don't support that.
Oh, yeah, okay. No, but I mean, what has she done as vice president that makes you be like, she's my queen?
Okay, sorry. Now it looks really bad because I won't answer the question.
Why should people vote for Kamala Harris?
Right now, because she's not Trump.
Oh, not Trump.
Yeah.
That is so if Mussolini was running, would you vote for Mussolini?
No. Can I explain a little bit more further?
Wait, yeah. So please, I'm curious. Why should people vote for Kamala Harris? I'm super interested, actually.
Yeah. So right now, Kamala Harris, if you look at Trump's record, how many people have left, or in prison right now, like Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, George Nader, Michael Cohen,
Navarro's
Michael
not
Flynn.
in prison, but yeah. So your argument is that a bunch of people around Trump are being targeted by a lawfare state? That's your argument?
We're going to the lawfare thing. Okay. I can see it.
No, but please tell me, why should people vote for Kamala? Give me a reason.
Oh, I don't have a reason. I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to bring up the one where the lady comes up and says, she says something about Charlie Kirk. She's like, I know you're voting for Trump, whatever, but can I get you to at least read this book and give it a thought to try to give Kamala Harris a chance? And he gives her, she gives him the book, and he goes, yeah, of course. And he goes and opens it up, and it's that book that literally was published is on the shelves at Walmart and another grocery store that around here, that it is Kamala Harris's greatest accomplishments. And it is completely blank. And it's like 300 and something pages of nothing.
Great. It's a bestseller on Amazon now, I think.
Yeah, it's amazing, man.
And he opens it up and he's like showing it. And
well, the book that she actually had written by a ghostwriter apparently back in when she was running, that book actually has proof of plagiarism in it. So the
she
fact
changed
is,
one word, sir. She tried.
One. I mean, I'll give her that. Well, she didn't change it. She had it changed for her, right?
I'm going to come to her defense on this if you want to push this issue.
Go ahead. You were there?
Well, no. If she plagiarized that book, okay. All right. When was it published? 2009?
9, yeah. But why did it take? What? I know.
Hold on. So 2009, she publishes a book, and it's out there. She makes money off it. People buy it. People do all that stuff. She has been in office, some type of elected office, since, what was it, 2000? When did she get elected to Senate? 2016. So if you go back to a prosecutor time and early 2000s, she's been elected. Well, she was appointed first. So
yeah.
So somewhere around 2009, 2010, 2012, whatever, she was elected by people in office. So you're telling me both sides of journalists everywhere, none of them checked this out before. And I agree that it's
actually,
wrong.
It was checked out.
But I agree that it's wrong. But you're telling me that the journalism in this country is so horrid that when someone is running as a vice president and now running as a president, this is not fact checked years ago. This isn't something that was done years ago by regular journalists making sure that the people that are out there that they elect, if you look at all the stuff that they've researched and done with Donald Trump and how many investigations, whether it be from the government and news organizations and everything like that, they've gone through everything in his life. You're telling me she is 3 weeks away from a presidential election, has been in office for many years as a senator and vice president, and now this comes up? Who's at fault here? To me, it's the journalism of this country that's failed the people.
Yeah, unless nobody thought she was even smart enough to look at. They just thought she'd
Kamala, can I talk now? Can I answer the question, Brett?
No.
No, but actually, when I heard the story, right, when it popped out on the news, right, on my news feed, on my Twitter feeds or whatever, I was like, oh, okay, this is crazy. My understanding, and I could be wrong, but from what I've seen and gathered as I've looked into it a little bit, that this came up when she was appointed or running for the DA or whatever. Remember, this is in California.
Attorney General?
Attorney General, yeah. I think one of those, yeah. So whenever she, remember, this is in California. It's a Democrat-run state. So you got a Democrat running against a Democrat. Republican didn't have a chance over there. So I'm sure it came up, but it got washed under the bridge quickly, right? So the reason why it didn't pop up until now is because I think if she had gone through the primaries like everyone else, to become the nominee for the Democratic Party, I think it would have come up. I think it would have.
Yeah, but I agree with you, and I completely understand, and I see your point, but I think it's just sloppy and it's lazy because of the fact that she was a sitting vice president for 4 years and none of this came up. Mm-hmm. Nobody talked about this. This should have been something that was right out there right away. Yeah. And this should have been something that's old news,
Yeah, but 30% of people don't even know she's the vice president.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's well-informed people. That's what, we go back to our times in crypto and stuff like that. The more people are informed of what the reality and truth of it is, and more transparent you are, the easier people can make educated decisions on what they want to do. Hiding stuff from people or admitting and not doing your due diligence just makes it it makes it worse when things come out. I see the same thing about Trump. Something's going to come out, you address it, let people know, let them know what's going on, let them make an educated decision on what the facts are. And something like this is way too late in her political career that this kind of stuff's coming up. It's wrong, and I agree with you.
This shows us the propaganda of the media. When you're a Democrat, first of all, the way California works, it's Democrat versus Democrat. So it's basically who they appoint to be in that position. And then they all the elites there are let's vote for this person. So then she gets anointed. She's AG. Now that gets swept under the rug, And then she gets moved up to senator. She goes for a senator run because she's in with all the in crowd there. And, they prop her up for her. She's failed upwards so many times. It's unbelievable. Yeah. But then even as vice president, I don't think anybody even who vetted her, and I don't even think they cared because all they were doing was the identity politics back then, and
Well, there's a big problem with all this stuff. Do you guys know that Donald Trump, and I think this goes back to 2004 or 2005? Do you know that Donald Trump wrote a book with Robert Kiyosaki?
Did he?
I did not.
You did not know that. Do you know what the name of that book was called? Why We Want You to Be Rich. It's a complete book about how Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki want to give all the secrets they possibly can to every person to make every person out there wealthy and rich. And they talk about all kinds of things to better savings, to do different businesses, to do different things. And nobody talks about it. It's a huge book. It's one of Robert Kiyosaki's third or fourth books. Nobody talks about it. And it's if you go listen to that book or go read that, but I would prefer listening to it. because Robert Kiyosaki does a really good job narrating it and everything like that. And if you got the audiobook and you listen to it, you probably come up with some ideas and, you know, start a business or something like that. It's an excellent book.
Well, if Kamala wins, she's going to give me $25,000 to start.
I don't think you're going to qualify for that.
I think I have to. I'm not black. I'm sorry.
No.
Guys.
You don't qualify for that, and that's where the problem. You don't qualify for that, and that's where the problem comes. You know what?
She's not going to give me weed.
You're going to come to me a year, 2 years from now, and you're going to tell me about if Kamala wins and this whole garbage of this whatever. Oh, it's just stupid. But you're going to come to me and you're going to say, hey, I'm going to sell my house. What do you think? I'm going to be like, well, whatever you do, whatever price you and your wife come up with, or whatever comps are in your area, add $25,000 to it, because it's going to immediately inflate prices of homes, period. It's not going to do anything. And the only people that qualify for it are, guess who? First-time buyers.
First-time, yeah.
And most of the time, first-time buyers, when they see a big old down payment like that, listen, you got to go back to the real estate bubble. And when you go back to the real estate bubble, it started in the early 90s, where Bill Clinton went out there and said, we need to make homes affordable for lower income people. And it was like, oh, okay. So they made so many incentives, and they gave them so much to get into these houses that when they got everything settled, they got into a house that was 5 times what they actually could afford. So they scraped and paid their payments for the first year or so. And then they all started defaulting because they got so much, they qualified for so much that they couldn't even afford the homes they were in. And by giving people incentives that are handed to them and not helping them get the right home, the most affordable home, and something that they can have and live in for a while, and then build on and build equity, and then move to a bigger home with their equity later on. They gave them these huge homes that they couldn't afford, and that's why we had the housing crisis in 2008. And I'm not a big fan of Bush, but Bush was the one in 2005, 2006, and 2007, and even up to 2008, was warning everybody about the housing crisis, and was saying that the housing market is going to bust. These banks are going to go belly up because people aren't paying their mortgage. And he's the one that basically, you know, took the beating for it. And this $25,000 is going to ruin people's lives.
And it just shows you she doesn't understand the root causes of all these issues. She's tackling a problem, but she's not fixing the cause of the problem. She's fixing the symptom of the problem, which just seems what they want to do in government all the time, and it doesn't do anything. It just creates further. And yeah, it sounds nice, and this is the problem to an uneducated voter. Oh, she's going to give me 25 grand. Like I want a house. 25 grand would be great, but if everybody's getting 25 grand, then the value of that 25 grand just became nothing. You know, if everybody's getting it, and then they're printing this money, it's coming from tax dollars. Then she wants to raise corporate taxes to do it. People go, well, the corporations should pay their fair share. Yeah, that sounds great on paper, but who works at these corporations? A lot of middle-class Americans. And where are they going to cut? From the middle class to reap the rewards, and these companies are never going to cut the top, trim the fat, just like in our government. Unless Trump's in because he wants to trim all the fat. They're going to trim underneath, and you're going to be working much harder for much less, and it's going to be the same problem we had.
No, Gus he said he's got to go. He's got a few comments in there about you can qualify for anything.
Yeah, he said he's a Haitian immigrant from Venezuela or something.
That is true. Yeah, if you want to qualify for anything, you just become a Haitian. It's like you get everything. Yeah. I saw this meme, and it was
someone to talk to too, because he travels around a lot. And he earlier commented, he said, "You just want to take a trip out to California, and you'll see which way this country is headed." No. Gus travels around. So, I mean, I travel around a little bit, but he travels around like he's on a political campaign tour. He travels around more than Trump.
Trump talks about San Francisco, but when I see videos of San Francisco, I'm just like, whoa.
I made one stop there.
Well,
I one time. It's nasty, man. I mean,
go check out Elon Musk. Go check out Elon Musk. That video that he had that camera crew following him while he went to Twitter and all that kind of stuff. And they followed him for a couple of weeks. And there are homeless people like all in front of Twitter. It's all trash and everything like that. And he's like, man, we got to get out of here.
When he was having that interview with Tucker, he was talking about how he told a story about how there was a lady that had, or they were coming home from work or something, and there was a dead body out in front of their apartment or house. They couldn't get in, so they called the cops. And they're like, "What are we supposed to do?" Well, we'll send somebody out. So they have to wait. I don't even think anybody showed up for a day or something. But that's crazy. There's a dead body outside your driveway, and they're like, "Oh, we'll send somebody soon." That should just not be happening in the United States of America. That should not be happening. And it's coming soon to a town near you. Look at Aurora. I mean, they literally embedded 30-something thousand Haitians. They call them legal. They say, in the news, the mainstream are like, but they're legal. They're not. They've given them amnesty like that. Now they're protected by
temporary amnesty.
Yeah, some pseudo amnesty, and they're gonna vote, right? And they're gonna suck up that town dry, and that town doesn't have the resources. Compassion can only go so far before it goes from compassion to frustration, and then frustration to action. You never want action to come out of emotion. You want it to come out of common sense and just out of goal setting, not like not out of frustration and anger, because that's when people get hurt.
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, this is the plan all along. Is to create so much tension and division in the country so they can then say, oh, the right, the MAGA people are crazy, they're unhinged, they want violence. Two things have never happened since I've been conservative my whole life, since I got into politics. One, I've never rioted or burned down a building. And the other thing is I've never, I guess I can say I've never done that. And I've never ever thought to ever cheat in an election, cheat in politics, or try to steal an election, and for the greater good, as they would say it. I've talked to some Democrats, and they're like, if we cheated, and especially in Harris County, and I talk about Harris County all the time. I talk to Democrats all the time here, and they're like, well, we got to get rid of Ted Cruz, So if they're cheating, good, we got to do whatever we got to do. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, what kind of a mindset is that, But you will, elections, as Obama would say, elections have consequences, right? So, and they absolutely do.
Yeah, they sued Virginia to get non-citizens back on the voter roll after Youngkin used a Virginia state law to take them off.
Didn't a federal judge halt an Alabama program that purged thousands of illegal voters? So you heard about that, right? That was about 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Alabama though. I traveled to Alabama quite a bit. They're like,
Alabama.
I traveled from Ohio to Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, and Alabama. And no, dude, it's everywhere you go, everywhere. And every gas station you stop at has Trump gear everywhere. Every gas station. I mean, it's like I can't remember the last time I saw a sign or anything associated that was not Trump. Those people are they're so in the tank for Trump, and there's a town that I go into, it's a pretty big town. And it's pretty, put it this way. It has a lot of people there that that are engineers from like East Coast, West Coast engineers that come down Huntsville, where they do a lot of space and technology and stuff like that. You think a lot of those people, I think they get down there and they're like, woo, we can finally put our Trump sign up. Because there's no Harris sign.
So I mean, when exactly did you take down your Harris sign though? Because you said you came over to the Trump side. Like, did you have it in your front yard? Was a flag in your front yard?
Did you make a video of him kicking it down?
Was it a flag on your back of your truck? Right, and just flying down the road. I'm just curious. In fact, I think everybody wants to know.
I never. What my kids one year wanted me to put up. No, we did. My kids. Now all my kids are very conservative. Like they won't even listen to anything else. They're in the tank conservative. And one year we put up a Romney sign, and I was all like, okay. And then one year they put up a Trump sign, and they took it down right away. not because they didn't like it. I think that was 2016. They saved it. It is literally sitting in our house like a brand new sign. And the kids are like, "Oh man, it's the best sign we ever seen." And it's that Trump fence and all that stuff.
I
But no, I don't.
It got stolen from my yard. You know, it was
I
really
never said that I was going to vote for Harris, but
no, I know. I was just messing with
I
you.
wanted to
No,
I wanted to keep them open mind.
And I respect that 100% because, you know, you were still searching, you know, you're independent, you know, you're like, you know, you always speak on policy. And I, of course, you know, I take to heart whatever you say, because you're coming from life experience that I have yet to live, you know, since Columbus, right? I think we talked about earlier with you, but in all seriousness, no. So I mean, you always bring common sense to the conversation, right? And I speak, and I say I'm a conservative. I'm I'm all about common sense. And there have been some things that you have talked about both sides that made me go, yeah, you know, you're right. You know, so so that way I don't get so biased in my decision process making, you know, and making process. So that way I can at least come at it with a clear mind, clear eyes, essentially, you know.
Since you're making fun of Chris Cruz for his age, I'm going to make Chris feel really good. My one friend just texted me, goes, "Does Chris Cruz have Twitter? This guy is brilliant." So
yes, he is brilliant.
He is brilliant.
Yeah. You made that up.
I will show you the text. I will send a screenshot.
He's brilliant. The guy's deaf. He just like looking at the screen. He likes the bourbon in the bag. He's like,
wait till he gives you some real common sense information on investing. He doesn't tell you what to do, but he tells you some things you should.
Oh, I didn't tell you guys
do.
this cool story.
So
I put my Trump sign up 2 weeks ago, and last week I looked and my neighbor had a Trump sign up, and I saw him, and he's like, "Oh, my wife saw your Trump sign and she got brave now, and now she wants to throw one up." So by me putting my Trump sign up, it gave her the courage to support, because, you know, a lot of people, they're scared. They're like, "I don't want my house getting egged. I don't want my..." Nobody has touched my Trump sign in this blue state of Illinois, they claim.
Yeah, I fly I fly the American flag and the POW flag, but then I'll put up each branch when their birthdays are, you know, when Marine Corps, Air Force, or whatever. And that's all I do with mine. But my neighbor, I don't know if you guys remember this conversation we had probably a couple years ago about my neighbor lived across he's down a little bit, but he had a Biden Harris sign, and then he also had Clinton sign. So he's always been, you know, for Democrats or whatever. And he ain't putting a sign up this time. And my neighbor said, yeah, he's not putting a sign up this year. And I was like, really? My other neighbor, he's pretty hardcore conservative. Like he doesn't think conservatives are conservative enough. But he said he's not putting up a sign this year. I said, what? Oh, did he get grief from it? And he's like, no, he says he ain't voting the same way he's always been voting. And that's all he said. So
I've heard a lot of stories like that. And, you know, if you're watching on YouTube, you probably know this man, St. Prado, saying that doesn't exist. But I've heard a ton of stories, and you can see the metrics on stuff I showed yesterday. The way Black men are leaning, it's coming towards the Republican side. I'm seeing a change. A lot of my aunts who are Democrat told me, I don't like Kamala. They just have no joy for her. Oh, wait.
She has terrible messaging. I mean, that's the problem.
It is very bad.
So if you want, and I hate to say this, because the Democrat Party is really, they have, I don't know what they're thinking. They really aren't going to be known for the party that's running on abortion. I mean, that's all they seem to be doing. And Trump is bad. So it's like, and as an independent voter trying to look for details or information as to make an informed decision, you can't find anything out there. And that's what really bothers me, because it's like Hakeem Jeffries, you know, the minority leader in the House for the Democrats, like he'll put out stuff. He still puts out stuff about Trump and Project 2025. And I'm like, okay, I'm about done with this Project 2025 stuff, because of the fact that I've looked it up and that's not Trump. Now, Trump might agree with some of the things in there. I might agree with some of the things in there. And I'm sure I don't agree with everything. But at the same time, Trump's Agenda 47 is what it is. And that's where the problem lies, where Democrats are sitting there now going, okay, abortion might be important to me, but what about these other things? And one of the key things that I found was, I don't know how this goes in any other room, but Harris Faulkner did her
town
hall with Donald Trump.
With the women. Yeah, I saw that. I saw a little bit
And
of that.
I love Harris Faulkner. I don't care what anybody said. Just love her to death. I like her personality, and I always try to make an effort to watch anything and all things.
She seems very real. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And she says things. She says things like she's like a girlfriend of mine that we would be talking, and like she talks like she's just a regular person to me. So she says in that, and I only saw part of it, so I can't go into too much detail about the town hall, but she asked the crowd how many people are concerned, and these are all women, how many people are concerned about men and women's sports. And they all were like raising their hands. So I'm like, okay, now that might be different in a different crowd or something like that. But that's where I come back to the Democrat thing. It's just these policies that the Democrats are like getting behind are policies that divide their own base. I mean, I don't know too many people. A Democrat, when I was younger, they were all like, they would spend just a little bit off the Constitution. Now they're like, I hear more conversations about doing away with the Electoral College and doing away with the Constitution than I do anything else. And I'm not saying Republicans are all that great and everything like that, but I try to lean
Republicans
more
don't defend it. That's the problem I have. You got the Democrats
and
that
that's another thing. These people just drive me. Most of these politicians just drive me crazy, and we've talked about it before, and I harp on it too. And I would ask you guys that if anybody out there is listening, go look at the Constitution, the Federalist Papers, the Declaration of Independence, and look for the word democracy. You won't find it. We are not a democracy. For God's sakes, please stop saying that. And Kamala Harris even said that in that thing today. We're a democracy. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're not a democracy. And
is that when her eyes got really wide and she was like,
she was like, democracy. And a democracy and this stuff. And I'm like, listen, we're a constitutional republic. Anybody can do anything that as long as it doesn't hurt other people, and their rights are protected. It's not a group of people that are protected. And I remember a long time ago, democracies always devolve into dictatorships because it's easy to get the majority of people to hate somebody else by misinformation or whatever. But individual rights is what this country is established on. And that's why, and it seems like the Democrats are like, well, they're a threat to democracy, Trump and other people and stuff. And it's like, good God, I hope they are. I hope they are a threat to democracy, because we live in a constitutional republic, and I can give a crap what people think about democracies.
I agree.
Yeah, that was a long speech on that stuff.
We want to make Chris Cruz laugh. I think this clip will make him laugh.
Who needs personality when you can switch who you are at the push of a button?
It's Sid Swish Kamala. That's right.
Oh, hello, young lady. Quite a marvelous day, innit?
Why does she talk so weird? Let me play with her.
Well, hey there, little nugget. I'm going to be the first black female president of the United States of America.
Man, this doll sucks.
Accent Switch Kamala can emulate any accent you like, as long as it grants her credibility.
Bonjour, tu aimes les croissants?
Merde américaine.
Guten Tag, Sie lieben ein Bratwurst? Ufta, 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 da.
Luke, I am your mother.
It's Sid Swish Kamala. That's right.
But wait, there's more. All new Accent Switch Kamala comes with 2 bags of campaign money, a blind eye for illegal immigration, and her own multi-laugh 3000 generator. Laugh in every way possible. Let Accent Switch Kamala turn your life into a complete circus.
When you give me more money, like Uncle Joey did.
Don't you worry, little man. The money's coming.
I don't understand.
Oh, excuse me, honey.
I meant to say, the money is coming. I love ice cream, Kamala map.
It's Accent Switch Kamala and brand new Tampon Tim.
You know, my grandma always used to say,
Kamala Janu, please wash your hands so we can eat our chicken masama.
It's Sid Swish Kamala.
Oh my gosh, that was good.
You know, that's funny. The croissant, the little French one was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, there's a video. If it's okay if I play it, but I want to cue this up though. Everybody knows who Michael Moore is, the freaking crazy libtard. You know, the planets.
Oh yeah.
You know, the end of the world is tomorrow guy. You know, he's made all these documentaries and well, he actually, I saw a video. Rich Hudman reminded me of it. What's up, Rich? And I think I sent it to you guys in the chat a couple of days ago.
You did.
But it's about 2 or 3 minutes long.
I didn't watch it, so now I get to watch it.
Oh, you didn't watch it? Check this out. He does an amazing job of explaining why people want Trump.
Donald Trump came to the Detroit Economic Club and stood there in front of the Ford Motor executives and said, if you close these factories as you're planning to do in Detroit and build them in Mexico, I'm going to put a 35% tariff on those cars when you send them back, and nobody's going to buy them. It was an amazing thing to see. No politician, Republican or Democrat, had ever said anything like that to these executives. And it was music to the ears of people in Michigan and Ohio and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. He's saying the things to people who are hurting. And it's why every beaten down, nameless, forgotten working stiff who used to be part of what was called the middle class loves Trump. He is the human Molotov cocktail that they've been waiting for. The human hand grenade that they can legally throw into the system that stole their lives from them. Although they lost their jobs, although they've been foreclosed on by the bank, next came the divorce, and now the wife and kids are gone, the car's been repoed, they haven't had a real vacation in years, they're stuck with the shitty Obamacare bronze plan where you can't even get a fucking Percocet. They've essentially lost everything they had, except one thing. The one thing that doesn't cost them a cent and is guaranteed to them by the American Constitution, the right to vote. They might be penniless, they might be homeless, they might be fucked over and fucked up. It doesn't matter, because it's equalized on that day. A millionaire has the same number of votes as the person without a job. One. And there's more of the former middle class than there are in the millionaire class. The dispossessed will walk into the voting booth, be handed a ballot, close the curtain, and take that level, or felt pen or touchscreen, and put a big fucking X in the box by the name of the man who has threatened to upend and overturn the very system that has ruined their lives. Donald J. Trump. They see that the elites who ruined their lives hate Trump. Corporate America hates Trump. Wall Street hates Trump. The career politicians hate Trump. The media hates Trump. Trump's election is going to be the biggest fuck you ever recorded in human history.
Yep. Sorry about the language, folks. I know this is supposed to be a family show, but I forgot there was
Oh,
some
it
F-bombs.
is? Oh, a family show.
I'm just joking.
Fuck
No,
that.
but man, think about that. Listen to you guys. I know this is the first time you've heard it, but doesn't that just explain it all? When
Does
people
explain
when people go, "Why are you voting for Trump?" That's why, right there. It's not because if you notice, when people, when you go to a Trump rally, or if you're able to go to a Trump rally, they're not going Trump, 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 Trump. They're not saying his name. They're saying USA, USA, USA. That's who they're cheering for. The country themselves, their family, the people, the citizens, the legal citizens of this United States, and those that want to be legally, obviously. So he's right. That's the biggest FU to the system, and I couldn't agree with him more. Rich says,
to a Trump rally?
What's that?
Have you been to a Trump rally before?
No, not. I went to one. He was out in the Woodlands in 2016, right? I got to stand outside of it. I didn't get. It was packed. I didn't make it in time, but I heard it's crazy. You know.
Yeah, some of
In a
the
good way.
nicest people. So for anybody listening who never would think of going, like you'd be surprised. Like they're not going to hate you. Like if you go by Democrats wearing a Trump shirt, they want to like murder you. If you go into a Trump rally and you're wearing a Democratic hat, they're going to try and talk to you and convince you to switch. It's different. I'm telling you, it's way different. And people have tried it. And
I was talking to a lady today, one of my offices, and that I visited today, and I was at today, and she was telling me that she hated Trump. She hated him. I was like, why did you hate Trump? I don't know how it came up, how the conversation of politics came up. I think it was something about buying. It was something to do with inflation or the economy or something. And I was like, look, I don't know where you lean politically. And I was trying not to make eye contact with her because I was going to be like Trump, but I was just like, look, I don't know where you lean politically, but for me, she goes Trump. And I was like, whoa, oh, so you're voting for Trump? She goes, yes, and I hate him. She goes, he's an a-hole, he's a jerk, blah, everything they say. But man, my life was better when he was president. She was made more, her and her husband are getting ready to retire. She talked about inflation. She talked about the crime, things that mattered to her. She said, I'm a lifelong Democrat, but I'm voting for Trump this time. And I was like,
perfect segue into what I got here. I found this, somebody tweeted this today or whatever, posted this. I'm not voting for Trump to come to my house for dinner. I'm voting for Trump so I can afford dinner. That is like the exact reason. Like you don't have to be friends with him. You don't have to invite him over for dinner. You want the guy that's going to give you the life that you deserve.
Yep.
Not saying that everything he does is going to be perfect. There's going to be things you don't like. And trust me, even if you're a Democrat, there's probably things you hate about Kamala. And you shouldn't like everything just because party lines, then you'll never change or you're not open to anything. Oh, they're a Democrat, so I like them. I know many people like that. And I especially hate it when people say I'd vote for a wall over voting for Trump. I'm like, well, that's just
who said that? Colbert? Who said that actually?
I've heard that from so many people.
She had an interview with some guy in the media. It wasn't Colbert. It was the guy that has the radio show.
Yeah. What's his face?
New York guy, real stringy hair, kind of
Howard
Eastern. Howard Stern. Yeah, he goes, I would vote for a wall. I mean, he literally insulted Kamala at that point, right? I mean, I'm voting for you, but I would vote for a wall. That's how bad he is. In other words, you're no better than a wall. So, I mean, you just happen to be here,
Yeah. He said that in front of Kamala too. I'm like,
yeah,
wow,
he said it to her. Absolutely.
I would feel offended. So the wall is just as good as me. Like my dad said the best thing ever when Biden was running in the last, and he goes, if your dog was on the ballot, he would have gotten 60 million votes. And I'm like, instead of Biden, like, he's like, they're not voting for Biden. Nobody was voting for Biden. It was just they want to get Trump out. They want to get Trump out. And I just hate that hatred. If they would just stop with that rhetoric, stop with that hatred and be like, okay, let's see what he is doing good and give him some credit, how much further we can advance as a country. But they just can't get over it. And it sucks.
They just cannot get over it. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I think in that Brett Baer interview, one of the things I liked that, I don't know, you may have the clip or not, but one of the things I like that Brett did, and she was saying that how, Trump is a threat to democracy. He's unhinged. He's unstable. All these, she was just like, that's all she could go to. And I like what Brett did. He goes, if that is true, then why does half the country want him to be president? And she's like, because elections are hard. She didn't, that was a damn good question. And she's never been asked that before, and he said, she obviously said she's not going to insult to our faces, obviously. She doesn't need to say that we're deplorables. She doesn't need to say we're low IQ or we cleaned our guns and our Bibles like Obama did. She doesn't need to do that because all her surrogates do that. Everybody on Twitter does that. The media does that. So she doesn't need to say it. Plausible deniability, right? They're saying it for you, Kamala, because you don't ever say shit. That's why. Because you can't say shit.
Oh,
Does. Yeah. So, anyways,
you know what else she wasn't asked? And this was the first time she's been asked about this since Biden dropped out of the race, about Biden's acuity. Like, you are the vice president, and she's like, I'm like, you weren't ever expecting this question. Like, whoa, wait, we're talking about. I have the clip here, and it's funny. It's a minute.
Yeah,
long.
you got to play the clip because it's very when Brett Baer says that you talk about Trump, and he's very unstable and all that stuff, and it's like, wait a minute, I think you're being set up here, Kamala. So you might want to stop talking.
But you call Donald Trump.
The significance
you
of that.
Call Donald Trump. He's misguided. You say now
he's unstable. He is unstable, Brett.
He's not well. You say he's mentally not stable.
He's not stable.
Let me ask you this. You told many interviewers that Joe Biden was on his game, that ran around circles on his staff. When did you first notice that President Biden's mental faculties appeared diminished?
Joe Biden, I have watched from the Oval Office to the Situation Room. And he has the judgment and the experience to do exactly what he has done in making very important decisions on behalf of the American people.
There were no concerns raised?
Brett, Joe Biden is not on the ballot.
I understand.
And Donald Trump
But
is,
you talked about it.
And Donald Trump
After George Clooney said within a few minutes of talking to President Biden at a fundraiser that he thought this was not the same Joe Biden that we saw on the debate stage.
Donald Trump is on the ballot.
I understand.
Yeah, she walked right into that.
Donald Trump's on the ballot. She could be president right now if she wanted to, and she should be president right now. Unfortunately, I don't want her to, but she should. Like, I don't understand why she hasn't even fought for the 25th Amendment. Then at least she can run as an incumbent, and it would give her some power. I thought that was going to be our October surprise, but apparently,
remember he asked her like, what would it be? You know, he even played the clips for her, that you wouldn't do anything different, right? And that was a great clip. That was a great clip.
And did you see when she admitted something and she gave Trump a talking point where she says, you got to be responsible for the administration? This is a 10-second clip.
They'd say that he never advocated for that prison policy and no gender transition surgeries
you know what? You got to take responsible for what happened
presidency.
in your administration.
Yeah, no surgeries happened in his pregnancy.
Trump's going to take that and be like, I love Biden's policies, and you got to be responsible for what happens in your administration. He's going to throw the border and then do that statement. He could just throw everything together with that, and she's going to regret saying that.
And it's going to end, I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Absolutely. Back to where he was asking the clip where she was like, I don't. What was it? What was the one that you just played? It wasn't the immigrant where she got angry. You haven't played the angry. Where she
I haven't played. I played it before the show, but here's angry Kamala, and you could see her eyes. Her eyes get all buggy. Look, it's very bad. She's very angry.
Talked about locking people up because they disagree with him. This is a democracy, and in a democracy, the president of the United States in the United States of America should be willing to be able to handle criticism without saying he'd lock people up for doing it.
Man, I noticed the teeth too. She was clenching hard. She's like,
when I was watching,
like nails on a chalkboard when politicians say
these questions.
Democracy.
I know, right?
No, when they bring up democracy, seriously, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Because I'm like, just if you did any kind of a search in any of our founding documents, papers, or anything like that for the word democracy, you won't find it.
I love when 100%. She says it. Then it goes on CNN, BC. It's all the talking points. ABC. Oh, Trump is a threat to their democracy. And it's like, dude, stop with this. He's already been president.
Donald Trump is a threat to their way of life.
That's what they really mean.
So is Elon Musk, because of the fact that Elon Musk, if you know anything about Elon Musk, when he goes into Twitter and he basically cuts the staff, and Twitter, now X, runs just as good, if not better, than Twitter did. he cut like most of the employees from,
I think it was like
from
80%
Twitter.
of the staff.
And if Trump gets in there, that's what Elon Musk is like, basically, I'm going to do that. And you got to think in the time span of like 10 days, the guy is at the Butler rally with Donald Trump. He unveils like the cyber cab and the other thing. He does all that stuff.
Yeah.
Then he launches a freaking rocket. And then on their first try, the chopsticks come out and they catch the booster part on their first try.
I mean, I was freaking going crazy because like that's like the little kid in me, the person who wants to explore space. I loved it.
I got chills when he did.
You guys know how I feel about that stuff, and I thought that was cool. I thought it looked cool. I was like, okay, that was
well.
Cool,
it doesn't go against your flat Earth or anything.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. Because at the end of the day,
against the Trump moon, you know.
Oh,
yeah. But then again, no. Think about it. Think about it for just 1 second here. So they're talking about it, right? And I watched the entire. I didn't watch it when it happened, but I watched it from the very beginning. It's like an hour and a half long. So they're talking about it, and these two ladies are on there, and one lady is just fantastic. They both are really good, but one of them, you could just feel the excitement in every word she's saying. It was almost like, look, you're just too excited for this. And then I got up to speed and was like, I'm pretty damn excited now. So she was great. And she's talking about, this will be the first time that we try it. There may be issues and everything like that, but we're excited for it. And then they like announcer would come on and say something like, we're go for this. And she would be like, oh my God, we're go for this. We're good. And then you get excited and everything. But then all that stuff happens. And then the next day it comes out that California, the Coastal Commission from California is rejecting him because, and they because of his posts, his posts and what he says, misinformation on his posts and stuff. And then he's like, we're going to sue you. And they're like, well, we didn't, it wasn't just that reason. And the community notes are like, that's just not the reason. And then some guy comes in and does a whole video of all of them saying that that's the reason why and all that. And you're like, okay, look at all the stuff that this guy's accomplished. Now is the worst time ever to say, no, your rockets, we don't agree with them. The dude did something cool. Amazing. And if I was California, I'd be like, hey, can you do it more over here? And we could show how beautiful
that's what
our
you should be saying, not hey, we hate you, go away.
We don't need you, Elon, after you made us. I mean, at the end of the day, they're the ones that absolutely adopted the EVs and all that stuff. Obviously, California, that's where he was based at, right? Obviously.
Well. And one more point on what I'm saying is that they held that EV summit at the White House a couple years ago, and you know who was not invited?
Yeah, they didn't invite him. Yeah,
Tesla, Elon Musk, anything like that. The guy that literally brought EV technology to the marketplace where actual people are driving. I would
and
say
now you have GMC.
What's crazy is
everyone else is making.
He open
EVs,
sourced his stuff because he wanted to better all of these companies and
it's all
help
about
them.
open source, man. As a guy in IT, open source.
That's my point. It's like
shit, man.
This guy is on this coalition that Trump has built, and what they're doing. So now it's like this guy is a threat. He's a threat to the Democrats' power. And it's like, I always thought that was an issue with them, but with this, the way this election is going, it is even more prevalent that this is really, truly what the problem is. They do not want the lifestyle of what Elon Musk and even Trump, to the extent of, if Trump follows through on giving the people more power. And Elon Musk, I truly think, with the way that X is, because I thoroughly enjoy X nowadays. Before I used to be like, now I enjoy it because of the fact, like community notes and stuff. I'm one of the people that can write the community notes and can rate them and stuff. And I see all those things on there. And I enjoy the fact, like the community notes and things like that. A lot of them are just stupid. They're like, I don't believe this is true. And it's like, that's not a community note, that's your opinion. But what he's doing and what they're doing, And what RFK, we hardly even talk about him, dude. Can you imagine with him and Kylie and Casey Means, the things that they talk about with our health and what's in our food and things like that? I mean, we didn't even, everything else has been
That's
going
a whole
on, but
episode on its own, 2-hour
what
show
they-
on just food.
what they were doing at, was it Kellogg's? Is they in front of Kellogg's yesterday? And they're like, they signed the signatures of how much junk they put in our cereals as opposed to, did you see the video of the lady that put up the one that came from like Fruit Loops that come from like Europe? The color and the difference, and the color and the difference, what they put in the United States, all these things. And that is a threat to all their powers. Just Robert Kennedy alone, not even Elon Musk. That what Robert Kennedy is planning on doing and what he's going to be a part of. I don't think anybody out there in their right mind is going to say that Robert Kennedy going into something to make people, kids and people healthier in the United States is a bad thing. I don't see how you can see that. So
I watched this video yesterday of this guy who went to Italy, and he said he was eating pizza, pasta, and he felt great, just like eating a good meal. And then he comes here back to the States and he's eating the same thing. And he goes, I'm lethargic. And they say there's like, you got 1,000 chemicals that are legal here that are illegal in Europe. And I was in Greece for 2 weeks eating their food. I felt more balanced. I felt great. And then I came back to the States and it's like, you know, you're just like, what's going on? Headaches, migraines. You know, you don't see these issues. I didn't have a single headache or anything in Greece.
You don't know what you don't know because this is all the food we have available to us, unless you're organically growing your own food, right? In your own dirt.
Or you making your own bread. We make our own bread. You know, we buy a lot of it. But making your own bread, man, it's a world of difference.
Homemade bread is phenomenal. It really is. But the flour even has the
like 5 ingredients. And if you maybe
yeast, what is it? Flour,
yeast. Flour has chemicals in it.
Sandwich bread. If you're going to do like a sandwich bread, you're going to throw like in yeast. You're going to throw in some water, some warm water. You're going to throw in some flour. Maybe some butter, and then probably some honey.
Like real butter, not that margarine crap, right?
Well, you can make your own butter. I mean, it's easy to make your own butter, and you'd be shocked. I don't even know if you guys know this. You might, but you can make your own butter with heavy whipping cream. You put it in a mixer, put the heavy whipping cream in there, slowly do it with the whisk. It'll eventually start thickening up. Once it thickens up, guess what you make?
Milk.
You've made away
from it.
So you make whipped cream with it, and you can finish right there, and you got whipped cream, and your family thinks that you're great. They're like, "Oh, you made your own whipped cream. My dad's awesome." You know, whatever. Keep going after the whipped cream. And the whisk part, it's a big old ball of butter, and then what's over underneath is buttermilk. So then what you do is you take that butter, take that buttermilk, put it in your bread, and you got butter bread you put some honey in there, and you got some sandwich bread, or some of those
sounds good.
They make in Europe. There's like 4 ingredients, and you need it. You put the ingredients in there. It's like flour, water, salt, and something else, but egg. I think it's egg or something like that.
I'm hungry right now.
And you need it.
I can make tortillas. I guess it's kind of the same way, but
tortillas the same way.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even think about I could make some bread with that, or make bread in the same way. My mom started making bread, and she's telling me about it. So good. I'm like,
you could have made me tortillas instead. You ditched me when I came by you. I see how it is.
I'll make it up to you, bro. I'll make you some homemade tortillas, man. Can't believe I just said that.
So here's the story. I came all the way by Kryptonian to visit him exactly, and he ditched me.
I didn't ditch you, man. Our schedules couldn't line up, man. I'm sorry. I apologize.
To be fair,
Greek and I met.
Luckily, my cousin's there.
We had steak.
Chris, you know how I feel about that.
I think there's something on your finger there. Right next to your eye.
What were you saying? You were vindicating me there, Greek. What was that? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I gave you like a day notice, so I really did.
I honestly thought I had.
How long? You didn't give me a day notice.
I thought I literally had. I thought I had about a week or
day
two.
notice for you because my work, it was an emergency job and I had to go.
I was there, bro.
Well, Greek and I have been planning this, but I literally in my calendar, in my mind, for whatever reason, I thought I saw it a couple of weeks, and then when he showed up, like, things happen, man. So, but we will be meeting up. I promise you that. Even if I got to come out there.
I texted him and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm at this bar. Come by." And he's like, "Yeah."
It's like, "Hey, honey, can I go to a bar?" It's like she would have let me. I told her you were in town. So
that's why you stay single, man. That's
because
you just go to the bar.
My wife wanted to come. I was like, "You can't come with me."
I was at the bar till 2 a.m. Not that bar. I went to another bar because we watched the Texas game, and then we watched the UFC fights there.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Wait, do you watch the Houston Texans or the Texas Rangers?
Texas Rangers, probably.
The University of Texas.
University of Texas.
Oh, Longhorns.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm sorry if you watched the Texans.
Houston Texans are doing pretty good, aren't they? That's CJ Stroud. Isn't he from Ohio State?
Yeah.
If they take us to Super Bowl, then I'd be like, yeah, they actually did pretty good this year. Until
CJ
they take us
from Ohio State, so it just obviously means that you have a superior team now.
Obviously.
The Bengals suck this year.
I never said the Bengals were from Ohio. They just happen to be down there. Listen, they're so close to the river, they could just be from Kentucky.
Yeah, that's true. You can get rid of them.
No, I like Joe Burrow. I'm not a big Bengals fan. I mean, Bengals fan, as it comes to Bengals, I ever tell you a story about when I was in the military and the Bengals were in the Super Bowl? I was in a day room.
Back
some guys talking. Some guys talking about Bengals suck. He's a San Francisco fan. This was like in '88. And he's like, Bengals suck and everything. And there's a guy that plays on the Bengals, Stanford Jennings. And I told him, the guy he was talking about the Bengals. I said, watch, they're going to run the ball back for a touchdown right here. And he's like, what? They all start laughing. And my guys were like, yeah. And we bet $20 on it. And Stanford Jennings ran that ball back for a touchdown. I won $20 on it. And we all drank beer and we just got hammered, all that stuff. Fast forward about 10 years later, I'm in a restaurant and I meet Stanford Jennings and I told him the story and I gave him the $20. I told him, I was like, oh my God. But after the Bengals lost and everything like that, back then I was like, man, I'm no longer a Bengals fan. So I'm a Colts fan.
Man, I'm just an Astros fan, man. I mean, football, the Texans have.
You're an Astros fan?
Absolutely. I'm from Houston, man. Yeah. I mean,
and I always thought that we didn't talk about that, but that's about as bad as being like a Bernie Sanders fan to me.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's terrible.
Man, damn, you said Bernie Sanders. That's crazy. It sucks that Chris has to go. It was fun having him here. For about 5 minutes. We don't say the B word on this stage, bro.
No, now listen, I was
that's Biden and Bernie.
Ron Gant, Deion Sanders, Reggie Sanders, all those guys. And I remember they're playing Houston in Cincinnati, and Bagwell who's the catcher back then? I forget
when they won the
Biggio. Was it Biggio?
Yeah. Was it Biggio?
Biggio. So
the
someone
bees,
says
man, they called him the triple bees. Yeah.
Now I had seen Ron Gant in real life, and he was like big and muscular and strong guy and everything like that. And he goes up to the plate, and they're talking, saying something, and then they just start throwing fists, man. And ever since then, a lot of people in Ohio are like, "Ooh, we don't like the Astros,"
I mean, they're when they got flagged for cheating or whatever, whatever they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
And then it turns out other teams do it. I mean,
that's what the funny part about they get caught.
Yeah, they got caught doing what everyone's doing. Yeah.
Well, the difference was they used video equipment from center field to do it. If you have a guy on second base, you can tip off pitches.
Yeah.
That's why they switched the signs.
I mean, they should have done it honestly, but I like the Astros. They
cheat almost as bad as the Democrats, though. So obvious.
It's so obvious. Yeah, it's so obvious, but no, you're right. They get away with it.
Well, that reminded me today of when I saw Biden and Obama standing next to each other at that memorial, and I don't know if Trump would have won or not, but I'm telling you, that guy did not get more votes than Barack Obama. Ain't no way that was even legit. I'm not sure if it would have made a difference in the election. Maybe Trump got some more votes than what he should have, but that election was off. And just looking at the two of them,
still president.
Joe Biden is no Barack Obama, man. And Barack Obama, I knew people that were coming out of the woodwork saying they were going to vote for him back in those days and stuff. And no way.
Yeah, nobody said they were voting Joe Biden back in.
No. Look, Barack was a good orator, man. I mean, he could speak well. I mean,
I think he was a great president for that time. I think he did well. He went downhill as he went along, but I don't know if that's.
Well, I don't know, because he made some extraordinary claims. You know, the oceans were going to swell, and
but then he buys a $14 million home and then
people were going to get their eyesight back. You know, our limbs were going to grow. I mean, he made all kinds of freaking claims on that stage, except with the acceptance speech. My point is,
he sounded good when he said it.
He sounded good, right? Everybody got their touchy feelings.
Like he's half dead. Did you hear? You gotta watch this clip. This is him today. I don't know why. Kamala's got to get rid of him too. She's got to send him away.
She beat Trump so badly in the debate, he's scared to death to beat her again. That's a fact. Tough guy, right? Tough guy.
Her again.
She beat him so bad, he's scared to beat her again. So wait. Did she beat him or did he beat her? Like, he's so confused while he's talking. It's she's just got to say, Biden, please, just go away, please. And I can't believe he's still president. Like that clip I saw that today and I'm just like, what the hell?
Nah, man.
Yeah, they need to stop talking.
The Kamala interview was hilarious today with Brett, man. I mean, she looked like a deer in headlights when he actually asked her real questions. You know,
she should have expected these questions. That's what pisses me off the most. It's like she's been getting these softball questions this whole time and she expected that. And she's
like, when he asked her about the border, she was like this.
What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What? Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil, bitch? You cooking?
That's how Kamala was today. She's like, border. Who said something about border? Her team was like, we got to get out of here, man. The ship's going down.
I saw you added that clip, and the whole time I'm like, I wonder what this clip's going to be about and when he's going to throw it in. And you did a great job of throwing that in.
Man. It was hilarious.
Oh, man.
Every time she talks, man, and she gets hard questions, I always remember that Dave Chappelle Black Bush. It was hilarious, man, back in the 90s, man, when he did that stuff, man.
I was so happy, too.
When he went on Saturday Night Live and did his monologue.
Did he?
That was powerful.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
When he was talking about when Trump went up there and he says, I know the system's rigged, and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama are like, no. And he's like, wait a minute. What he said.
Oh, man. You know, it sucks that he's actually supported Kamala though anyways, though. You know, he'd be a great asset to the team.
They're all scared in Hollywood to come the other way because then
I don't know. I mean, Trump is a polarizing figure, though. I mean, and it goes back to I have relatives that are from that New York, New Jersey area and stuff like that. And the way that they talk to people and the things that they say, sometimes they just come across as very arrogant and cocky and all that kind of stuff. And I can understand some of Trump. I mean, Trump, I think, is well adjusted considering the fact that he grew up in New York. He was single for a very long time, was literally invited to every single party ever, was rich. I mean, honestly, I'd be a complete degenerate. You know, I think we talked about that before.
Yeah, we did.
I mean,
I think said that
he doesn't do drugs. He doesn't drink.
Dude, you guys would be like that.
You said you would be naming a lot of storms, Stormy Daniels, Stormy Susie's, and that's what you said.
Listen, and I wouldn't be proud of it, but a lot of people would be like, I'd be like, look, that porn star, that's the only one.
Well, with that being said, with the life that he's been able to live, with the money that he's had, and of course they loved him before they hated him, and yet there's not very many things that have come out other than the Stormy Daniels. You would think the guy in that position, you would think he'd be exposed like Diddy is right now, right? I mean, he'd be on an island. I mean, look at the stuff's coming out for that guy, and those, I can't wait for those
Yeah,
shoes
that's
to
all
drop.
you did wrong was have consensual sex with a porn star, man.
Yeah, damn. What
Could
an
be
asshole.
worse.
Well, I don't think that that's an issue. I mean, it's really between him and Melania and all that kind of stuff.
True. Yeah.
I mean, when you line up all these different things, I'm telling you that I'm not saying that I would do anything illegal or want to hurt anybody or hurt anything, but I'd be probably a party animal. I'd probably be doing a lot of things, having a good time. I probably would. And like Don Jr., I mean, that's another thing too. Don Jr., I have way more in common with Don Jr. than almost any of them because of like the hunting, the aspects of the outdoor life and things like that. And it's like, you grow up around that kind of wealth. How do these people, I mean, you got to keep these kids grounded. Yeah. They have to. I could easily see all of them rebelling, but all of them seem to be pretty well-rounded kids. I mean, there might be stuff in there behind the scenes. I missed that. We talk about the story about, I forget the guy's name. It's really a great guy. It's a Fragrant podcast. He's a comedian. Trump is on there and he's talking. I think it happened since the last time we got together, but Trump is on there.
Yeah, you're talking about.
He tells him about
Schultz. What's his name?
Andrew Schultz.
Andrew,
is that?
Andrew, yeah.
Is it? And he says that I talked to a lot of people. I talked to Donald Trump Jr. and he told me a story about one time you were going to be away. He asked if you had a party and he's only going to have a few friends over, and then you came back and he had 200 people there, and you got there and you're like, you guys get out and all that kind of stuff. And Don Jr.'s like, we never talked about it again. And Trump is like, yeah, we never talked about it again. And Andrew Schultz is like, it's like, can you give him closure? And he's like, no, never give him closure.
That's a dad.
I'm
right
like,
there, man.
Trump was probably a pretty heavy-handed dad. I would,
you know what, speaking on that, and his sons, like you mentioned that, so he's got his sons who are coming. Their dad's a billionaire. Obviously, you can look at Trump and his kids, and you look at Paris Hilton is a trust fund baby. I'm just using her as an example. Everybody knows who that is. And just she's got like all kinds of trash out there. I'm sure now she's trying to straighten the road out, which is happy for her, right? Trying to live her life. But the point I'm making is Trump just didn't just give his boys money. He said, you're going to work the family business. You're going to get educated. You're going to go to college. You're going to work in this business if you want some of this business. He didn't just give them anything, and right. I think that's why his kids have grown up, at least appear to be well-grounded, respected. You don't have any scandals coming out with his kids at all. Any of them. Right. And I think he was a good father. He speaks highly of his father. So I'm assuming it came from, he was taught well.
You judge people by their kids. And then you look at, I hate to say this, but Doug Emhoff's kids compared, and you're like, whoa, wow.
I don't know his kids. I don't think I've ever seen
him. Man, it's the classic wokeness.
It's the classic wokeness, man. And I mean, and I see it. Kids are off. They're not off limits, but they're certainly, if they're outspoken, then everything's on the table. Yeah. You can just look at the fruits of his labor there.
Yeah, but they paint him as a monster, and he's got great kids, like 14 grandchildren that love him. Like they come up to him, and it's not just like you saw. I showed the clip in a couple of my videos. If any of you are watching my page, please like, subscribe. If you're on X, go to my page. The pinned tweet is the pinned post. I can't call it tweets anymore. Is my YouTube page. Go there and you can watch this video and you can comment. I had a video where it's he brings his daughter on stage and she's like, "Make America Great Again," and it was like such a wholesome moment. I'm like, oh, the press doesn't want you to see this because it humanizes him, and it's the worst thing they can ask for. And then his son goes, "Vote for grandson, vote for grandpa," and it was just such a wholesome moment. Yeah, and it's crazy. And that was only like a month after he got shot, and he's bringing them on stage, so you could no fear in that guy either. It's crazy.
Yeah, and that goes back to the point is I know how difficult it is to raise children, and you hope for the best of your children. You try to give them, instill discipline and make them, good people. Good no matter what their politics are and everything like that. And I would imagine even for some of these other politicians, their kids and stuff like that, I would imagine being in the limelight like Donald Trump has been, and some of these politicians, it's even more difficult to raise good kids. Yeah. I mean, you got, and having all that money around them and the access to public and all that kind of stuff. I would think that their job is very, very difficult. And especially like the Obama daughters, and your father's like the sitting president, all that stuff when they were living in the White House and stuff. And did you know, and I ran across this the other day, I never heard about this. Do you know that somebody shot like 9 shots at the White House, and like 2 of them like went through glass into the wall, and they didn't figure it out that it happened for like 5 days later?
When was this?
When did this happen?
When Obama was in office.
Crazy 5 days.
Yeah. So listen to this. So the Secret Service, they were doing a whole thing on Secret Service and the mess ups that they've made over the years. And Secret Service agents thought that they heard gunfire, and they were running to like where they heard it from. And it was a guy that was across the street on the outside of the fence that had a gun. They even actually have a video of the guy doing it and shooting at the White House. And like they have bullet holes in the windows and stuff, but they called the Secret Service back and said, oh, it's just a backfire from a car or something like that or whatever. And they blew it off as nothing. The guy drives away and has an accident, and they have guns and all that kind of stuff. He gets arrested, and then he doesn't say anything about it. They don't bring it up. But then in the course of their investigation, they figure out that he just was running from after shooting at the White House. I mean, it's a real story and everything. I was like, wait,
I never heard that, and although I didn't vote for the guy, I don't want anything to happen to him. I mean, he's a president of the United States,
No.
Obviously.
The reason why I was bringing it up is that one of his daughters was in the White House, but the rest of the family were at different locations.
Yeah, see,
but she was never in danger. But I mean, it was like way on the other side where she was
I think that just speaks to the incompetence of even in for Barack Obama, the first hybrid president, as I call him. He wasn't black; he's half black, right? But the first biracial president. Obviously there's going to be some fanatics out there, right? Crazies that would do something like that. So you would think that the Secret Service would have all hands on deck, but it just shows from then till now how complacent they've become. And it really, with the assassination attempts of Trump what's it, 3 now? They look, I don't know if the third one was a hoax or what, but where a guy showed up at his rally with a gun recently, the last rally he had a few days ago. And it was a local police department that actually caught the guy. It wasn't even the Secret Service. But I would just think that president, vice, whether it's the vice president, the ex-president, or sitting president, I think they should have for the rest of their lives, Secret Service, like the same one that Biden would be getting, Trump should get, Kamala should get, Bush should get, and because they actually make life-changing decisions for all Americans, right? So they need that protection, because I think if they had that. Good.
I was actually shocked when I found out. I thought that ex-presidents already had that.
Yeah,
because they're going, like, imagine you make a decision as a president and now you're out of office and they have lack of protection, but some of those decisions you made still affect human beings that are living, and they might be angry. Like people who are pissed off at Obamacare can be like, I hate that guy. He needs protection.
Yeah.
I don't want anything bad to happen to any former president. And I was shocked that like Trump had to beg for protection, like the Secret Service. And I'm like, this shouldn't be the case. He's a former president. I thought they already had the biggest Secret Service you can have, and his whole family should have it too.
Yeah.
And I was shocked.
I agree. It being the most, I think one of the most dangerous job on earth, I think, is being a president.
Yeah. 6%. get assassinated. I think out of our presidents, that's
Yeah,
like the highest, craziest percentage.
They should have the full force of the Secret Service for whatever that even means. Honestly, based on the complacency, the incompetence that they now show. But not all of them, but obviously, I don't blame the actual the actual officers or the Secret Service agents or officers or whatever. I don't blame them. I blame it's all about it. Always the buck always stops with management. Who's the team lead? Who's the boss? Who's making the decisions? They're just trying to make themselves up, trying to work up the ranks. So they're going to go where they're told, right? And they're going and whatever resources are available to them. They're going to take on whatever training that's given to them. It's how it is.
That's why you need good leadership.
That's right. It's all about leadership.
This is the difference, and this is why I say Trump is a better leader. Is if something like this happened under Trump's watch, that person who's ahead of the Secret Service would have been fired instantly.
Yeah.
You don't wait for stuff. You fire them because this is a no-fail job. Biden didn't fire. She had to go. She just got obliterated in the when they did the Senate hearing, whatever, the Congress hearing.
She resigned. Right?
She resigned the next day because
they're all
benefits. Like, you better resign.
Benefits. Yeah.
Yeah. You better resign. I'm surprised. She should have been fired. She shouldn't even have to make the decision. The decision should not have been hers. When something goes wrong in that position, it should be lead through strength. Let people know there's accountability for action. But these DEI practices where now you got, we want 30% of the force to be women. Well, here's the problem. You got a 6'3" man and you have people who are blocking him. No offense to women, but you're not 6'3". I'm not 6'3". I shouldn't be a shielder for the president if Trump's president. That's why you have people taller than him. There's certain limitations to the job. And we're putting people in positions to fail, and that's not right. People have strengths and weaknesses. Maybe you can find spots to put that person, and I was just appalled. And you see constant, whenever you have DEI practices throughout places, it just leads to failure. It leads to mismanagement. It leads to all kinds of crap. We need to hire the best people for the jobs. And I'm sick and tired of this crap. And we need to get women out of men out of women's sports, not women out of men's sports. That should be so common sense, but it's just like it's not. And did you ever watch the What Is a Woman, the Walsh documentary? It's great. He goes to people and asks, "What is a woman?" And they go, "Woman is a person who identifies as a woman." I'm like, that's a circular definition. They keep doing it.
Have you seen the one? Am I a racist? Have you seen that one?
It's coming out on Daily Wire Plus in a few days.
Dude, that's such a good one, man. That's such a good one, man. And I've seen the clips from it.
He is brilliant at the work he does.
I like Matt Walsh, man. He's no nonsense, straight up. I mean, he stands on his convictions, and I love him for that, man.
What's great about him too is he can have an actual talk with you if you don't believe the same as him. That's the difference. There.
He'll hear. That's right. And he doesn't say anything. He doesn't get emotional. Doesn't talk you down or talk down to you or condescendingly. He just like, no, you're wrong, and this is why I think you're wrong. It's just he's so polite about it. You know what I mean? I think it's the way he speaks, right? The way he actually has a conversation with you. Which is a complete opposite of some others out there, right?
Did you see him at the DNC when he was in costume behind all that? I was loving that.
It's wearing the same costume that he used when he was like, "Am I a racist?" I think he had the long hair or something. But but what's crazy about that, being even at the DNC, you had to show your ID, right? You had to prove you were who you were, but the Dems don't want you to have to show your ID to vote, which blows my mind, 100%, man.
I mean,
100% blows my mind.
There's only one reason you don't want election integrity. There's only one reason, and they seem to be the only ones like fighting against it. And when the bill came up, nobody voted for it.
That's right.
Well, that's what the same bill on the protect women and girls in sports.
It should be 100% obvious, but they don't do it. But then, if something bad happens to one of their children, they'll be the first to complain about it. But they're also voting these people in or voting these policies. So I always tell people, you gotta. Once you go woke, things go broke, and it's you don't want to.
100%.
Oh, no. Chris, do you want me to play this video, or is this for
No,
later?
no, it's a long one. That's one for later. They go down through the history they do a history of like all kinds of assassination attempts and different stories here and there.
Oh,
Some of them I had never even heard of. It was very interesting. I think they talk about Trump's assassination attempt a little bit, and then a few other ones where it's like, wow, I didn't even know that one. But
and they only say you try to assassinate consequential presidents, and Trump is somebody who's trying to upend the system, and that's why. And this rhetoric needs to stop. Even today, she's continuing. This is what she basically said today. Outside of.
Do you think Donald Trump needs to take a cognitive test?
Well, I'm going to say what I have said publicly and will say many times based on my observations, and I think the observations of many. Donald Trump is increasingly unstable, and as has been said by the people who have worked closely with him, even when he was president, he's unfit to be president of the United States.
He's unfit, but he's out there on Bloomberg yesterday in Chicago doing an interview. She declined to go there.
Damn, that interview was
90 minutes,
shit, man. I love that interview. That's one of my favorite interviews.
Shows you how you handle somebody who's adversarial. He basically, with the tariff thing, he doesn't like.
Yeah, but he was the I don't understand the editor in chief, man. He was adversarial for incredibly ignorant reasons.
Yeah, for the wrong reasons, honestly.
Yeah, his stance on tariff was like
Trump telling him,
"You talk about softballs.
You have been wrong your whole life."
you talk about softballs like Kamala Harris is like, "What's your favorite color?" Those types of things. When people complain about that, winding up a softball to Trump on tariffs like that is like he's going to destroy you on that. He talks about it all the damn time. He knows about tariffs.
He's been talking about it since the 80s.
It's a
right?
bargaining tool, and you even played it in the Michael Moore thing. That video I think is from 2016, and you played it in there.
It's the
everyday
best bargaining
people
chip he's
in
got.
Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. All of us were like, finally, someone's talking about tariffs. In 2016, we were like, hell yeah. This is the tariff president. I don't think you're going to win that argument. And he did. He made him look foolish. And I'm like, it's like the guy, these people wind up these softballs and say things to him like, this thing on tariffs and other things. I'm like, you guys are playing right into his wheelhouse. Why don't you try to, get him to answer more detail about some of these other issues and not talk about, because Trump has that problem where he's always like, we had the greatest ever. When I was bad, we were great. We were greatest ever. And nobody's
like
ever seen it.
Like to use his hands.
He's like, I'm telling you, we had the greatest ever, and nobody had ever seen it like that. It was the greatest, and people were telling me that it's better than ever. And
Shane Gillis says you have to do the hands at the complete wrong time. So it was the greatest ever. And, you do the hands 2 seconds later, and then he goes, you just get down in your throat. I don't know.
What do you think about Rogan, though? Do you think Trump says he was on that
Trump on Rogan is perfect.
podcast?
Trump can just talk to his heart's desire, and Rogan will be like, okay, we got 3 hours to fill. I guess we'll do this. But Kamala on Rogan, that will be a train wreck in a half.
I hope they're having that conversation. I did see a tweet where somebody had said that Kamala's staff is not talking at all. They're not even in an attempt to talk to her tonight or the rest of the night. I think because that interview with Brett Baer didn't go well. So
they're going to reconsider Rogan, I think.
I think Rogan would be, because Rogan, I don't think he would push her on issues, but he would talk about a bunch of different issues. And that's why I kind of wish that Charlemagne the God was just a little bit more, would push her on some of those issues in his interview, because I felt his interview, he was stopping. He would stop when he should have done follow-ups to that. And I kind of felt like, look, he kind of did the same thing when Biden came on and was saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. I wish Charlemagne would have like pushed that a little bit more.
What annoys me most about Charlemagne is when she's not on the show, he gets real. Like when he said he saw that Trump ad during the football, he's like, that was powerful. But then when he's got her in front of him and he can really like
He didn't
ask
even
her
bring it
things,
up.
he seems to play like the party line, like, oh, I gotta be like her hero here.
Well,
And,
I think he leans. He is left, but at the same time, I think he doesn't want to do anything that would trip her up or anything like that. So, I mean, I think he does go a little soft on her, but at the same time, I don't think Rogan would be that way. And I don't think that Rogan would go after her because Rogan does a really good job with even people that he doesn't necessarily agree with.
Rogan
on
would
his
make her
podcast.
talk and let her answers breathe. And that's what journalism has to be, actually, is hey,
Yeah, and Rogan's going to sit there and be like, I didn't say it. You're the one that said it. You know what I mean?
And that's where it's dangerous on Rogan, because he would let her breathe and it would all air. So you would have that word salad answer where you're like, what is she talking about? This was a 5-second answer and she gave a 30-second response. And then it's kind of like the Billy Madison line where we are all dumber for having listened to that response.
Yeah.
And you're like,
At no point.
and you get content.
And that rambling, I love that.
She rambled on CNN or
we're all
ABC.
stupider for
60
Everybody
minutes.
in this room is now dumber after listening.
All her ramblings, and that was the most coherent responses they showed on 60 Minutes. So you could imagine they cut out all the ramblings, and she still sounds like incoherent. So it's like that's crazy, and
they need to listen. I have the key to the Harris campaign, and they need to listen.
If they
to me.
listen to you, they'd be in a lot better shape. I could tell you that.
Stop talking. I don't care.
Well, they tried that. They're trying to do what they did with Biden, put him in the basement.
No, every time either one of them talk, they say that, like I said, you got people out there that are going to be like, yeah, it's all Trump's fault. And those people are already voting for them.
Yeah.
So those people, when they're like, they blame everything on Trump, everybody that's voting for him is like, yeah. Donald Trump goes in and talks to everybody. And you can get tired of hearing him talk and everything like that, but he's talking about issues. Okay. Yeah. I might not agree with him. I don't know. But it's like, whenever she says it, it's like, it ends with, it's Trump's fault. And it's like, okay, just stop talking, do everything scripted, go back to, you're doing like, don't do interviews, don't do anything, and make everything off a teleprompter and don't deviate from it whatsoever. Smile and wave, kiss baby.
I agree with your statements on this. When she did go off teleprompter, she actually gave policy positions instead of like, and so you knew what she was. Because I think independents, they don't know what the hell her policy is. They already know.
I don't think that she can give policy, because what she has to do, even if Kamala Harris, if you just took her and took all of her handlers out, everything out, and it was just her real true feelings about things, she can't even say those things because there's so many people behind the scenes that would just, she's got to make sure that Biden's okay. He's not mad at her within reason. She's got to make sure that Obama is, she's got all these people behind her. And it's like, if she just went out and just said, you know what, I disagree with half the things that Biden did. I didn't like him then, or I liked them then, but they obviously didn't work. I'm obviously not doing those things. And she was real with everybody. It might be different, but she can't be real. So every time that she and Walz talk, it always ends up being it's Trump's fault. And it's like, okay, everything's Trump's fault. I get that. But independents are like, I don't care. I want to know what your plan is for the future. I want to spend as little time as possible on this, figuring out who I'm going to vote for in this election, and then I'm going on with my life. I'm going to go vote, and I'm going to be done, and I'm going to go do my thing. Now, you get these people out there, and then they see this stuff, like her interview today, and if she goes on with Rogan and stuff like that, and then they end it by saying that it's all Trump's fault, people tune it out. They're like,
yeah,
okay,
that doesn't
these
work with independence when you do the blame game. It's like when you have kids and they're like, oh, it's my brother's fault. You're like, yeah, okay, why it doesn't work. The parent always sees right through it. And the independents are really starting to see right through it. And I think most of them, they know it. She doesn't do this interview today if she thinks she's winning, and the internals say she's winning. She's not doing
that was a bad move. And if they do Rogan, it's even worse. She needs to just go back to scripted and just
I 100% will say this. I give Brett Baer credit because I did not expect this from him. Like the first 5 minutes, I started cheering in my car. I was going crazy. I was fist bumping. I'm like, Brett Baer just earned my respect. And I tweeted it right away or post. I would say tweeted.
I agree with you. I was not expecting him to actually be a real journalist today. I mean, he wasn't trying to do gotchas, in my opinion. It wasn't like, oh, now he's going to let her have it. No, he was like, listen, this are the facts. The bill you keep saying that you did moments after the election was an amnesty bill, you know. And I know we opened up with that, but there's actually there are 10 things. You know who Brian Donalds is, right? He's the senator from
Florida.
Florida? Is it Florida? Yeah.
Yeah.
There was 10 things that he actually mentioned that bill that got kicked back, that did not get passed. One, it codifies catch and release. It lets in 1.8 million illegal aliens, funds sanctuary cities. It funds NGOs moving illegals, lawyers to illegals, work permits to illegals, nothing to deposit. Nothing to deport illegals, no immediate wall funds, weak asylum screening, and $10 billion to Ukraine. That's what that bill was for. That she says that conservatives and Democrats came together to propose a bill that Trump kicked back. That's the one that she's talking about.
You know what she says too? When she says they came together, there was one Republican who helped sit in and write it, and that's the agreements they came to make it unifying. No way this was going to get passed. There was no way, especially when 6 Dems voted against it. There was no way this was going to pass.
Yeah, Republicans are not going to. Sinema, she from Arizona, she voted against it.
She did,
but I expected Brett Baer. I expected that from Brett Baer. I think he got a bad rap from the 2020 election when he announced, and now he was just the messenger. But when Fox announced that Arizona went for Biden so quickly, like within a couple of minutes, but I mean, he took all the flack for that. People were like, "Oh my god!" And then
Fox
and he
News, is in the tank, or whatever. But
he's done interviews where he did not follow up on a few things and stuff like that. But
I watch his show every so often, and he kind of like will give the news, but in a way where he's like impartial, where he wants to play the middle guy. And I was just worried if he's going to do the softballs, that like, why did they pick him? Why did the campaign say Brett Baer's the guy? But today he impressed me too when he played her clips, because now it made her look dumber when she couldn't answer things, and he's like, "Here's what you said in 2019," and she's
so that sounds like a lie, Kamala. Here, let's play the clip. And it's
I got that impression too, that he was let me, because he would say something, and I swear she was being set like she had to realize that he was bringing the receipts.
Yeah, so that's why she wanted to filibuster. That's why
and his credibility was on the line today, because if he did a softball interview, he would have been canceled by everybody, because people
you had one chance to sit down with this lady, and the one guy that we thought, if he, as far as his politics, I don't want to know what his politics are, left or right. I wanted him to be as he was today. Just bring the questions, and if you're still voting for her, fine. I don't care. I just want you to bring the receipts. Let me decide. If I'm independent, let me decide who I'm going to vote for based on the questioning. I think if she had been interviewed like this since the beginning of her campaign, I think we were talking about this earlier, I think maybe before the show, if she had 10 to 20 interviews like this, hard questions at the very beginning, this Brett interview would have been a piece of cake for her. She would have already been Irish representative. She would have been prepped for it.
You go through these all the time. You take something that you're negative and you spin it, and then you get your message out. But she could not attack it, so she was trying to filibuster the whole time, and that just looks bad to an independent voter. Her side was all defending her. CNN was defending her. I watched people like, you're going to get the Democrats who are on. They're all defending her, which is what we expect. Trump could bomb, and we'd still defend. I would. Okay, maybe not you guys, because you guys are more middle, but I would defend him. But it's the 20% in the middle, and those middle people watching that are going to be like, "Oh, did she answer the border? Did she say sorry?" Like,
But as an independent, I do not look for CNN for anything. I wouldn't even go to CNN to check the weather or anything like that. I honestly tell you the truth, I can't remember the last time that I don't think I've ever. Well, I have to have, but I don't turn CNN on my, like that the TV apps where you can go in and you can take off channels and like you can like remove them and you only
the
do the
smart
channels
apps,
you like.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
you
and
roasted
on
them?
my TVs and stuff like that, that CNN isn't even on there, and I wouldn't go to CNN. For
I've only watched it by force when I was in an air. I did a lot of traveling. I'm in the airport. They're all over the place. Airports.
Yeah, and I mean, I've seen that when I was in the military. I went to Italy one time, and
Did
we
you
had
see Waltz there, or were you serving with Waltz? Because
no, he's in China.
China, but go ahead.
Oh,
Sorry to interrupt.
No, I was in Aviano. Well, it's near Bari, and dude, they're Mediterranean, the most beautiful women on the planet, and it's all topless. And I was like 20 years old.
That's
I mean, seriously, 20 years old, and some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean,
Mediterranean women.
Even like the 60-year-old women, you're just like, wait, you're how old? You look like you're like a year older than me.
It's the diet, man. It's the diet.
Oh,
right?
they're just amazing. And the guys over there, every single one, all they do is laugh and have a good time. Great people. But anyway, I went over to Italy to what the hell was I even talking about? The women.
He's talking like Trump now. He goes, he's like shuffling around. Where was I again?
But Trump can bring it back, man. Bring it back. Bring it back.
Trump brings it back.
I have no idea what I was talking about. I just got distracted. But it's called Bari, and it's like in the heel of the boot. It is such a beautiful place. It's wonderful, all that kind of stuff, man.
You're just talking about you were in Spain, and I threw you off with the whole Waltz thing, but
I could be on the beaches of Monte Carlo.
No. I remember what I was saying. So I went to there's a town called Gioia di Cola, and they make wine there, and they just wonderful people. First time I ever had an espresso, but
really?
and this was
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It was a guy's garage that he turned into an espresso thing, and he just opens up the garage, and you just walk up to like a counter that's like 2 feet in there. And like everybody's just hanging out, and he makes espressos, cool. and then when he's done, he just closes the garage and goes in the house. And but anyway,
can't do that here, man. You get all kinds of fines.
Permits and shit.
Yeah, you permits.
Like, where's your permits? You need an ID for that shit.
So I go to this day room.
I'm just voting. Okay, no ID.
We got this day room. It's got this huge TV, and I was like, man, I mean, that's pretty cool. We got a TV in here. It was a big like cafeteria. There's like enough room for 100 people. And we're all sitting there watching this TV. And then on the TV, it had something that was called headline news. Yeah. And I was like, and this is in, southern Italy, and it's all satellite, armed forces radio and everything like that, and watching headline news. And I was like, that is so cool. And so it was English, and they were speaking, and it was like part of CNN and everything. I thought it was great. When I got back, I was telling people, I was like, man, they got this stuff over in Europe called headline news. And they're like, yeah, it came out over here. So I was like, oh, so I happened to be in Italy when it came out. And it was,
but y'all have espressos.
But, and I used to love that. And I used to check it out. They'd have on their thing, they'd have like different things that they were talking about and stuff like that. And recently I saw something on X, and they say some of the most ridiculous things on those chyrons or whatever that are at the bottom, like Trump is an idiot, but here Trump is an idiot, and this is the reason why, and you're like, what are they talking about? It's like not even like news anymore. It's like, again, it's a hate Trump, no matter what, boom, you're done. And then that's why whenever I don't even go near CNN for any kind of factual information whatsoever.
Do you know what makes me really happy? Go back to 2016, the night he's elected, and see all the news, how they react to it, and see their faces, and that just makes me happy. It's so great.
Yeah.
Well, I only wanted this to go 2 hours, and of course, we talked over. We're going to do this again next Wednesday, probably. And we're going to do this again. We're going to be live the whole night of the election night. And we're going to have the map, and we're going to fill it in. And we're going to boo every time Kamala wins a state, which which is hopefully not a lot. And we're going to cheer every time Trump wins a state, and probably take a shot every time Trump wins a state. And I won't be coherent after an hour in, because he'll win like 4 or 5 states really quick.
Well, when they do the southern states, and like the very beginning, there's going to be like each one of them are going to have like
Alabama, Mississippi, Arkansas, Indiana, and then you're like South Carolina. You're like, oh shit, I'm drunk already.
You'll be like, and Greek will be like, well, that was the shortest live we ever did.
Yeah,
It's like 10 minutes.
Like, it's only 7:30. What the hell happened? You're like, bro.
And Crypto will be like,
later.
It's like, it's flat.
Yeah, it's flat.
That's gonna be a good time, guys. I'm looking forward to it. And I just hope it's fair and it's free at the end of the day. You know, I just want it to be fair, because my life depends on it as well as yours. Those that live in America. So this is one of the most important elections of my lifetime. I think there have been other times in history people have said that, but no, this is for real this time. This is for real this time. But with that being said, I appreciate the invite, man. I love these conversations. Me, man, I love talking politics and
trying to get a few of my friends to join, but they don't want to be on camera. They're
Really?
still scared.
Let's keep their camera turned off.
Yeah,
that's what I tell them. They're worried, scared. But no, it's understandable. Like some people, it's not easy to put your face out there for Trump because, you're worried about repercussions.
Well, they don't have to put their. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, hopefully this is a wake up call to Democrats though, because I think the independents are really gonna deliver for. I think they're gonna deliver for Trump, and I think that Democrats are gonna have to say we need to reevaluate. We've moved so far left that we need to move back towards the center.
I really see that happening, and the Black and Hispanic vote is moving more Republican, and now more people identify as Republican than ever before in a lot of polls. A lot of counties in Pennsylvania flipped. You're seeing it, and because you've gone too far to the left, and just what you've said, they got to reevaluate.
Next week, I'll bring up this clip. Anna Navarro, she's this crazy Hispanic lady on The View. I don't know. I watch that show just because I like to laugh.
Everyone on The View is crazy.
But she claims to be a Republican, and she's sitting next to a Hispanic guy and another Latino guy like myself, and he's literally telling her that why Hispanics are voting Trump or voting Republican because of inflation and all these things. And she's like, no, I can't believe they would even think. And she's literally, calling us idiots, and I'm just like, this woman has no idea. And she just gets, there are a lot of dumbass women in the world, that I've unfortunately had to have arguments with because, of my politics. And that would be one of them right there.
She just sees it as like, why would anybody vote for that guy, even though their lives are better? And these guys are like, I don't care what the heck he says. I'm struggling on a daily basis going to work. I want.
She's literally telling this guy's literally telling her, I wish I had the clip, like that we care about inflation, cost, the cost of living, she says, last thing she said, he's a racist. He goes, he's not a racist. And then she loses her shit, man. Look, as a Hispanic guy, I'm American that happens to be of Mexican descent here in America. And I have looked since 2016. I have looked for one racist thing that Trump has said, and I can't find it, or said or done. I can't find it. The guy's not a racist.
I'm confused where they even get that from. Like it's just like some talking point they did in the past.
It is,
and it doesn't.
That's what they've always been able to pull that card, and it's not working. It doesn't work on this guy. So if he's not a racist, then what else do they have? And this is why Black men and Hispanic men are moving away from the Democrats because the game's up, the jig is up. We see it. No longer are you going to take my vote for granted any longer. And I'm not this Hispanic. Oh, I want the government to take care of me. No. I want them to get the hell out of the way. Let me keep my money as much as I can. Don't waste my money that you take from taxes. I don't want an opportunity economy. I just want the opportunity to create my own economy within my own ecosystem, my family, my friends, and my community at the end of the day. In other words, get the hell out of the way, government. You're in the way. And this is why we're all going towards Trump, because he's going to get out of the way. That's what he wants to do. But that's my soapbox.
And on that note, we will end it, and we will see you all next week. I'll be live Friday with my normal video solo, so please watch, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you are on X, please go to my page and follow me, and please subscribe to my channel. I love each and every one of you.
Look, you all know it. We can't have 4 more years of this. We won't have 4 more years of it. We won't.